Ladies and gentlemen, I believe you're not here by accident today. You didn't just stumble into this moment, you were led here. You may not see it yet, but something powerful is happening in your life. You may be tired, frustrated, or wondering when things will finally turn around. But let me encourage you, God didn't bring you this far to leave you. What if I told you that in just 6 months, everything could look different? Your mindset, your habits, your finances, your relationships, your health. I'm not saying it will be easy, but I am saying it's possible. See, we often overestimate what we can do in a week and underestimate what can happen in half a year of focused faith, discipline, and determination. If you give yourself 6 months to believe again, to work with purpose, to speak life over your future, you can step into a new season you never thought possible. So today we're not just going to talk about change, we're going to talk about transformation. Because when you align your actions with your faith, mountains move, chains break, doors open. And God shows up in ways you never imagined. Commit fully to the process. That's where everything begins. Nothing changes until we make a full, wholehearted decision that we are no longer going to live the same way. So often we dabble in change. We dip our toes into new habits. We try something for a week or two, and the moment it gets uncomfortable, we retreat back into what's familiar. But change doesn't come from comfort. Transformation doesn't happen in the shallow end. If you're going to give yourself 6 months to change everything, it starts with a made-up mind and an unwavering commitment. Committing fully means burning the bridges behind you, the ones that lead back to old patterns, old excuses, and old thinking. It means saying, I'm not going back, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how long it takes, I'm in this for real. When you make that decision, something powerful shifts. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop asking, do I feel like doing this today? And you start saying, this is who I am now. You don't wait for motivation, you move from conviction. You become consistent not because it's easy, but because you've chosen this path for a reason. That kind of commitment changes your posture. You stop acting like a visitor in your own life. You stop testing the waters and start walking on them. You take responsibility for your growth. You stop blaming the economy, your past, your upbringing, your job, your lack of resources, and you start saying, this is my life, and I've got 6 months to give it everything I've got. And when you commit at that level, your energy changes. You stop dragging yourself through the day and start showing up with purpose. Committing fully also means letting go of the backup plans. For 6 months, you don't entertain the thought of quitting. You don't keep 1 foot in and 1 foot out. You don't say, well, if this doesn't work, I'll just go back to how it was. That kind of thinking weakens your resolve. It gives you an easy exit when things get tough. But when you remove the exit signs, you discover a whole new level of creativity, strength, and endurance. You find ways to make it work because there is no other option. Too many people want the results without the sacrifice. They want the change without the process. But the truth is, the process is what makes you. The process is where your faith is stretched, where your character is refined, where your discipline is forged. And if you'll stay committed through the process, even when you don't see immediate results, even when it feels like nothing's happening, that's when the breakthrough is being built. That's when the roots are going down deep, preparing to support something greater than you imagine. Committing fully doesn't mean being perfect. It means staying in the fight. It means getting back up every time you fall. It means forgiving yourself for the days you fall short and pressing forward anyway. It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's about putting in the work when nobody's watching. Because real change doesn't happen in the spotlight, it happens in the quiet places, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the little choices that nobody sees. When you commit fully, you start to see progress, not because everything gets easier, but because you stop stopping. You build momentum, your habits begin to shift. Your mindset starts to align with your goals. And before you know it, what used to be hard becomes your new normal. You're no longer forcing yourself, you're flowing in a new rhythm. Not because the struggle disappeared, but because you rose above it. That's the power of full commitment. It doesn't just change your behavior, it changes who you are becoming. This 6-month journey will demand everything from you: your focus, your time, your energy, your discipline. But if you're willing to give it everything, you'll gain more than you ever imagined. You'll look back and realize this was the moment you decided to stop living on autopilot and start living on purpose. You'll realize that the breakthrough didn't come from a secret formula or a lucky break. It came from you deciding that you were worth the effort, that your future mattered enough to fight for, that you weren't going to let your past define your next chapter. That's what full commitment looks like. It's not glamorous. It's not always exciting, but it's real. It's powerful. And it's the foundation of true transformation. Eliminate distractions and excuses. That's one of the most critical steps if you truly want to change your life in 6 months. You can have a clear goal, a powerful vision, and even the motivation to get started, but if you're constantly surrounded by distractions and weighed down by excuses, your progress will always be limited. Distractions are the silent killers of dreams. They don't scream at you, they whisper. They show up as harmless habits, small compromises, little detours that slowly pull you off course until you look up one day and realize you're nowhere near where you intended to be. We live in a world where distraction is not only common, it's constant. Your phone buzzes, notifications pop up, someone needs your attention, social media begs for your time. And it's easy to justify these distractions as normal, as just part of modern life. But here's the truth: what you allow to steal your time steals your future. Every time you choose scrolling over studying, binge watching over building, or talking about your dreams instead of working on them, you're making a trade. And that trade is costly. You're trading potential for comfort. You're trading progress for procrastination. Distractions don't just come from the outside. Some of the biggest distractions live in our own minds. Overthinking, worry, doubt, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of what other people will say. These internal distractions can paralyze you before you even begin. They'll convince you to wait for the right time, for things to settle down, for life to be less hectic. But let's be honest, there is no perfect time. The only time you have is now. And if you don't take control of your focus, someone or something else will. Then there are the excuses. Excuses sound reasonable. They're dressed up in logic. I don't have enough time. I don't have the right resources. I'm too old. I failed before. People like me don't succeed. These thoughts might feel valid, but they're just comfortable lies. They protect your ego, but prevent your growth. Every excuse is a wall between you and your potential. And the longer you accept those excuses, the more you reinforce the idea that you're not capable of changing. But you are. You're more powerful than your excuses. You're stronger than your distractions. You just have to decide that your future matters more than your comfort. Because change isn't going to happen while you keep entertaining the same habits that have kept you stuck. You can't scroll your way into a new life. You can't binge watch your way into a breakthrough. You can't keep waiting for the world to get quiet when the noise is coming from within. This is the time to get serious about what matters. That means putting boundaries around your time. That means saying no more often, not out of rudeness, but out of purpose. You can't say yes to every invitation, every opinion, every emotion that tries to distract you from your mission. If it's not aligned with the person you're becoming, it has to go. For the next 6 months, every minute matters. Every choice matters. Every day is a brick in the foundation you're building. And you don't have time to waste on things that don't build you. You've got to be willing to be misunderstood. People might not get why you're suddenly less available, why you're not hanging out as much, why you've stopped entertaining drama or gossip. That's okay. You're not living for their approval, you're living for your breakthrough. You're choosing intentionality over impulse, focus over comfort, growth over popularity. And that kind of discipline might feel lonely at first, but eventually it creates a life that feels free, fulfilled, and focused. The biggest shift happens when you stop trying to manage your distractions and start eliminating them. Don't just move the apps around on your phone, delete the ones that steal your attention. Don't just think about getting up earlier, set the alarm, get out of bed and do it. Don't just complain about toxic influences, distance yourself from them. Stop negotiating with the things that are slowing you down. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to decide. Every day you delay, every excuse you accept, every distraction you indulge in, it's costing you something. It's costing you clarity. It's costing you time. It's costing you momentum. This is your time to clean house, to silence the noise, to clear the path so your energy, your passion, and your focus can finally run in one direction. Because once you eliminate the distractions and excuses, what's left is you unfiltered, undivided, unstoppable. And that version of you is capable of far more than you ever imagined. Create a vision that pulls you forward, not a vague hope, not a distant wish, but a clear, compelling picture of the life you're working toward. Most people struggle to change not because they lack ability, but because they lack vision. When you don't know where you're going, every road feels exhausting. Every obstacle feels defeating. But when your vision is clear, even the hardest days feel purposeful. Even the setbacks feel like setups. You're not just reacting to life, you're building something. And that changes everything. Your vision has to be bigger than your current circumstances. It's to stretch you beyond where you are now. If your vision doesn't scare you a little, it's probably not big enough. Vision isn't about what's comfortable, it's about what's possible. It's about seeing beyond the bills, the routine, the stress, and the noise of everyday life. It's about lifting your eyes and seeing what could be, not just what is. Because what is temporary. But a vision, when it's clear, when it's strong, when it's rooted in purpose, can carry you through seasons that would have otherwise broken you. To build a vision that pulls you forward, you have to get specific. It's not enough to say, I want a better life. What does that look like? Where are you living? What are you doing when you wake up in the morning? What kind of people are around you? What kind of mindset do you carry? What are your finances like? Your health, your relationships? Vision without detail is like a map with no landmarks. You won't know how far you've come, and you won't know when you've arrived. But when you see it in your mind with clarity, your actions start aligning automatically. Your decisions get sharper, your energy gets focused. That vision becomes your internal compass. On the days you don't feel motivated, it reminds you why you started. When doubt creeps in, it whispers that you're not finished. When distractions arise, it brings you back to your purpose. And if you review it daily, if you write it down, speak it out loud, and feel it in your heart, it will begin to take root in your subconscious. You'll stop wondering if change is possible and start expecting it. You'll stop questioning whether you deserve better and start walking like you already own the promise. Your vision doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. It's not their journey. It's not their future. Don't shrink your dream to fit someone else's comfort zone. Don't let small minds talk you out of possibilities. Some people won't understand your drive. They'll call it unrealistic, too ambitious, even selfish. But they don't see what you see. They don't feel what you feel. And they won't live with the regret if you don't pursue it. This is your life, your responsibility, your vision. And it's up to you to protect it. That's why it's important to place your vision where you can see it every single day. Create a vision board, write a manifesto, make a list, whatever works for you. But keep it in front of your eyes and in your spirit, because the world will try to blur it. Life will throw distractions, delays, and doubts in your path. And if you don't keep your vision sharp, you'll settle. You'll start to believe that maybe where you are is as good as it gets. You'll accept average because you lost sight of extraordinary. But you weren't created for average. You were created for impact, for purpose, for more. Your vision should speak to your future, but it should also reflect your values. It's not just about what you want to have, it's about who you want to become. The house, the income, the opportunities, those are great. But the most powerful part of your vision is the version of you it calls out. The disciplined you, the confident you, the healed, whole, and hopeful you. That's the transformation worth chasing. Because when you become that version of yourself, the rest starts to fall into place. Vision gives your struggle meaning. It gives your hustle a reason. It makes you resilient in the face of setbacks. It reminds you that temporary discomfort is worth permanent change. But vision also demands that you move. It doesn't work without action. You can't just dream it, you have to build it. You have to align your behavior with the outcome you desire. That means asking yourself daily, does this decision bring me closer to my vision or further away? Is this thought in alignment with who I'm becoming? Is this habit feeding my growth or my comfort? When your life is anchored to a strong vision, you stop being swayed by the ups and downs. You stop chasing every shiny thing that promises quick results. You focus, you endure, you grow, because your mind is no longer stuck in the past, it's fixed on the future. A future that you're not just hoping for, but actively creating one day at a time. Discipline your daily habits. That's where real transformation begins to take root. You can have the most inspiring vision, the strongest intentions, and the deepest desires, but without consistent daily habits to support them, they remain just dreams. Discipline is what bridges the gap between goals and results. It's the muscle that keeps you moving forward when motivation fades. Motivation can get you started, but it's discipline that keeps you going. It's the difference between a good week and a changed life. Your habits are shaping you every single day, whether you realize it or not. Every action you take, no matter how small, is casting a vote for the kind of person you are becoming. If you want to change your life in 6 months, start by changing what you do in the next 24 hours. Then do it again and again. Because success isn't built in a day, but it is built daily. And the people who create lasting change aren't the ones who do everything perfectly. They're the ones who show up with discipline, even when it's inconvenient. Discipline means doing what you said you'd do long after the emotion you said it in has faded. It means following through when nobody's watching. It means choosing long-term gain over short-term comfort. It's waking up early when you'd rather sleep in. It's saying no to distractions that seem harmless but cost you momentum. It's sticking to the plan when the excitement wears off. And it's understanding that progress often looks quiet, slow, and unglamorous. Habits don't have to be dramatic to be effective. You don't need a total life overhaul overnight. Start with small, intentional changes. If you want to get healthier, drink more water and move your body each day. If you want to build a business, commit to working on it for an hour before or after your regular job. If you want to grow spiritually, read something each day that feeds your soul. The power is not just in the action, it's in the repetition. Repetition builds momentum, and momentum is what makes change feel possible. But discipline also means removing the habits that are holding you back. You can't outrate bad routine. If your days are filled with distractions, procrastination, or self-sabotage, no amount of desire will override that. You have to interrupt the cycle. You have to identify the patterns that are keeping you stuck and be honest about the role you're playing in your own limitations. Discipline isn't just about doing more, it's about doing what matters and cutting out what doesn't. Your environment plays a role in this too. If your space is chaotic, your mind will be too. If your friends are undisciplined, their habits will influence yours. You have to create an environment that supports your commitment to growth. That might mean putting your phone in another room while you work. It might mean going to bed earlier so you can wake up and get things done. It might mean distancing yourself from people who encourage the habits you're trying to break. Discipline is easier to maintain when your environment aligns with your intentions. There will be days when discipline feels like a fight, when your old habits try to pull you back, when your mind says, just skip today. But it's on those days that growth happens, not when it's easy, but when you push through the resistance. That's where your new identity is formed. That's where confidence is built. Every time you follow through, you build trust with yourself. And that trust becomes the foundation of self-belief. You stop saying, I hope I can change, and you start saying, I'm proving it every day. It's easy to underestimate the power of daily habits because they seem so small. But they add up. They compound. One day of discipline might not change your life, but 6 months of it will. You'll look back and realize that the little choices you made consistently are what built the new version of you. And that version didn't happen by chance. It happened by choice, by showing up when it was hard, by doing what was necessary instead of what was comfortable, by choosing progress over perfection and consistency over intensity. There is no magic formula for transformation, but there is a path. And that path is paved with daily discipline, not perfection, not emotion. Just daily choices that line up with your bigger purpose. It's not about how fast you move, it's about how faithful you are with what's in front of you. When you take ownership of your habits, you take ownership of your life. Because the life you want is hidden in the habits you haven't built yet. And once you build them, you won't need to chase results, they'll begin to chase you. Surround yourself with the right energy. The people you allow into your life, the voices you listen to, the environments you place yourself in, these things are not neutral. They are either lifting you higher or pulling you down. They are either pouring into your purpose or draining your potential. No one becomes their best self in a toxic atmosphere. No one rises to greatness while keeping close company with negativity, jealousy, or mediocrity. The energy around you shapes the energy within you. And if you want to change your life in 6 months, you need to protect your peace like your future depends on it. Because it does. Look closely at your circle. Ask yourself, do these people encourage me? Or do they criticize me every time I dream a little bigger? Do they challenge me to grow? Or do they keep me comfortable in the same cycles I'm trying to break? Are they moving forward with their lives, or are they just talking about what they're going to do someday? You can love people and still choose to love them from a distance. You can be kind and still be selective. Protecting your energy doesn't make you selfish, it makes you wise. Your future needs a certain atmosphere to grow. Just like a seed can only sprout in the right soil, your goals need the right climate to thrive. That climate is built by encouragement, discipline, accountability, and belief. If you're surrounded by people who laugh at your ambition, who always find something negative to say, who downplay every step you take forward, that's not soil, that's poison. And staying in that energy, even out of loyalty or familiarity, will cost you more than you realize. It's not just the people you spend time with, it's also the content you consume, the conversations you entertain, and the environments you place yourself in daily. If you fill your mind with gossip, fear, doubt, and drama, you're going to start feeling those things. If you spend your time in spaces that breed small thinking, you're going to start shrinking your own potential just to fit in. But when you surround yourself with inspiration, with possibility, with people who speak life and move with purpose, something shifts. Your energy changes, your attitude sharpens, your standards rise. Sometimes the shift in your life doesn't come from working harder, it comes from being in a different room. A room where you're not the smartest person, a room where growth is normal, a room where success isn't questioned, it's expected. You don't need people who will coddle your excuses, you need people who will call out your greatness. People who remind you that you're capable even when you forget. People who challenge you with love, not shame. Who inspire you by how they live, not just what they say. Creating that kind of environment takes intention. It means being bold enough to walk away from energy that no longer matches the future you're building. It means being humble enough to learn from others without feeling small. It means reaching out, making new connections, finding mentors, joining communities that align with your values. Sometimes it even means spending more time alone, not in isolation, but in preparation. Because solitude can be powerful when it's used to reflect, reset, and realign. Your energy is your responsibility. You don't owe anyone access to your peace. You don't have to apologize for protecting your mind, your mood, your mission. The wrong energy will distract you, discourage you, and detour you. But the right energy will strengthen your focus, lift your spirit, and help you stay on track when life tries to shake you. It doesn't mean things will always be easy. It means you'll have people and spaces that remind you of who you are when life tries to make you forget. Start being intentional with who you give your time to. Start listening to voices that speak vision, not fear. Start placing yourself in environments that breathe life into your dreams. Because in 6 months, you'll either be thankful for the energy you protected or you'll be recovering from the energy you allowed. What you tolerate around you becomes what you accept within you. So choose wisely. You don't have to fix everyone. You don't have to carry everyone. You just have to surround yourself with energy that reflects where you're headed, not where you've been. Take consistent action, no matter how small it may seem. Action is the force that turns intention into momentum. It's not the big leaps once in a while that create real change, it's the small, deliberate steps repeated over and over again that build the foundation for something extraordinary. Far too many people wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect conditions before they begin. But perfection is an illusion that keeps you stuck in hesitation. Progress doesn't come from waiting. It comes from doing. From deciding that today is the day and then showing up for yourself again and again, whether you feel ready or not. Taking action breaks the grip of fear. Fear thrives in the unknown, in the overthinking, in the what ifs and maybes. But when you move and when you start doing something, even something small, you begin to dismantle that fear piece by piece. Fear loses power when you meet it with movement. One call, one workout, one page written, one decision made, that's how the breakthrough starts. You don't have to see the entire path, you just have to take the next step in faith. And when you do that consistently, the path starts to reveal itself. Momentum is a powerful thing, but it doesn't show up by accident. You have to create it. You have to build it with action, layer by layer. When you start stacking wins, no matter how small, they start to shift your mindset. Suddenly, you're not just someone who dreams about change, you're someone who's doing something about it. That identity shift is everything. It's what keeps you going when it gets hard. It's what helps you show up even when the results aren't immediate. Because deep down, you know that every small step is building something much bigger than what you can currently see. Consistency compounds. One workout won't change your body, but 100 will. One day of saving money won't change your finances, but 6 months of discipline will. 1 hour of focused effort won't build your dream, but repeated hours, time stacked over time, absolutely will. And when you truly understand this, you stop underestimating the power of small actions. You stop quitting because it doesn't look dramatic enough. You stop needing constant external validation because you know that what you're doing today is planting seeds for what's coming tomorrow. Taking action also builds confidence. Not because you're always succeeding, but because you're proving to yourself that you can follow through. Every time you show up, even if it's messy, even if you stumble, even if the results are slow, you build self-trust. And that trust becomes unshakable over time. You no longer rely on hype to keep going because your foundation isn't built on emotion, it's built on commitment. That kind of consistency is rare and it's powerful. It separates people who wish from people who win. Sometimes action doesn't feel glamorous, sometimes it's repetitive, sometimes it's lonely. But that's what makes it effective. That's where the real transformation happens, behind the scenes, when no one is clapping, when no one sees the effort. That's where you build character, grit, and endurance. And those qualities matter far more than talent or luck. Because talent can be wasted and luck can run out, but character will carry you through storms that would destroy anyone who only relied on motivation. There will be days when the results don't show, days when it feels like nothing is working, days when you question whether it's even worth it. But those are the days that count the most, because anyone can act when it's easy. Anyone can show up when the results are obvious. But growth happens when you keep going in the silence, when you keep building without applause, when you keep walking toward your vision even when no one else believes in it yet. That's when you separate yourself. That's when your future begins to shift. Taking action also teaches you. You learn far more by doing than by planning. You discover what works, what doesn't you enjoy, where you need to improve. Action creates clarity. You don't need to have all the answers before you start. You gain answers by starting. Don't let overthinking become a form of procrastination. You don't need a 10-year plan to take a step today. Just ask yourself, what's one thing I can do right now that aligns with the life I want? Then do it. And tomorrow, do it again. Because the life you want isn't waiting at the finish line, it's being built with every action you take along the way.